Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to download a VS Code. So VS Code will be uh, this channel default IDE, and in the future. I'm gonna make videos showing how I'm using VS Code to do coding, and especially with the tips and tricks and shortcuts. So we just started now with download VS Code. Now I'm going to restart NVDA, Control Alt N, so we can start.
Taskbar.
Before we start, the step that we are going to do is number one, we're gonna search for an VS Code website download, and then step 2, download the VS Code. Step 3, go through the installation process and finish. I hope this video can be useful and easy to understand. Now press window key,
Start window. Search window. Search box.
type H to go to search for Edge browser, ADG.
Microsoft Edge. New tab dash personal dash Microsoft.
If NVDA suddenly stops talking, that means I pressed Control to stop NVDA. Now this is Edge. The Edge already open. So I'm going to type download VS Code.
D O W N L O A D download V S C O E E O O D E unselected.
Now press enter.
Loading page. Loading banner landmark. Account rewards and preferences complementary landmark.
I press shift to pause NVDA. So since this is a Edge browser, we are redirected to Bing search engine, and currently, based on the NVDA, the system focus on the reward something from Bing. Now I'm going to switch to browse mode of NVDA by pressing NVDA key plus spacebar, and that sound mark that we already switched to browse mode. Now I'm going to press H to go to the next heading.
Clickable search results main landmark list with 17 items Visual Studio Code dash code editing dot.
So it was heading level 2 main landmark the search result. Now press again H.
List with 3 items docs link heading level 3.
This is if you notice this is heading level 3, that means this is part the child heading of a heading level 1. And I'm going to press shift plus H to go to the previous heading.
Visual Studio Code dash code editing dot. Redefined link heading level 2.
We are going to use this link. Press enter.
Loading page. Visited. Loading complete.
We've reached to a website. Just for precaution, I want to check the URL of this website by pressing Ctrl L.
App bar toolbar. Address and search bar search landmark collapse search or enter web address Ctrl plus L selected https://code.visualstudio.com.
It's code.visualstudio.com. It's a trustable website, visualstudio.com. Now I'm going back to the HTML document by pressing escape.
Visual Studio Code dash code editing dot. Redefined document. Top level
Press shift. We are in the HTML document. Now I want to quick scan this HTML document by using landmarks. Press D to go to the next landmark.
Main landmark code editing dot. Heading level 1.
This is main landmark and it has heading level 1. press D again to the next landmark.
Content info landmark list with 2 items. Hello from Seattle.
This is content info, that means this is the footer. Press D again.
No next landmark.
There's no next landmark. Now we are going back to the heading level 1 main landmark. I'm going to press Shift plus D as in Delta to go to the previous landmark.
Main landmark code editing. Heading.
This is heading level 1. Now I want to go through line by line to find download link for the Visual Studio Code. For the record, there's a difference for you who doesn't know. There's a difference between Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. What we are looking for is Visual Studio Code. I won't discuss the difference between Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code here because it's gonna take some times. But what we are looking for, and the one who's going to be our default IDE is Visual Studio Code. The difference is there's a word code at the end of the after Visual Studio. Now I'm gonna press down arrow to go line by line.
Heading level 1 redefined. Free.
Arrow.
Built button download for Windows.
This is button download for Windows. We're gonna use this one. Press enter.
Loading page. Documentation. Loading. Downloading, VSCode user setup -x64-1.7 left paren, 1 right paren, .exe, 79.2 megabytes.
Let's currently download the Visual Studio Code setup file. Now we are waiting. If you're using Edge browser, it will notify us whenever the download
Downloading
is
1 files, 58% complete.
It says 58% complete, so it's still progressing. It will notify us when we reach 100% download.
Downloads completed.
Okay, downloads
Press
completed.
Ctrl plus J to go to downloads.
Okay, I'm going to press Ctrl to J to go to the download section.
Downloads document. Recent downloads list. VSCode user setup -x64-1.7 left.
So this is VSCode. I'm gonna press enter now.
Document setup Microsoft Visual Studio Code left paren, user right paren. Dialog license agreement. Please read the following.
Okay, so this is the third page. First, we already find the website to download VSCode. The second phase is to download VSCode. The third phase is to go through the installation process, which is now. So the NVDA said this is a license agreement. I'm gonna press Shift again to continue NVDA.
Important information before continuing. Please read the following license agreement. You must accept the terms of this agreement before continuing with the installation.
Press Shift to pause. That means we have to agree on something, agree on this license. Now I'm pressing Tab to find something related to this.
I do not accept the agreement. Radio button checked. Alt plus D.
I do not accept. That means that currently we focus on the I do not accept radio button, which is selected. That means either before this line or after this line, there is an option to agree to this license. I'm going to check the upper line by pressing up arrow.
I accept the agreement. Radio button checked. Alt plus A.
Okay, the option to agree apparently is on the upper line and is already checked. Now I'm going to press Tab to go to the next focusable element after this selection, the agreeing selection.
Next greater button. Alt plus N.
Next greater button, that means there's a button with the label next and a greater sign. I'm gonna press this.
Select the additional tasks you would like set up to perform while installing Visual Studio Code, then click Next. Tree view, create a and desktop icon checkbox not checked.
So this is a selection of additional tasks during the installation process. NVDA read the first option is to put desktop icon. I'm gonna read the last item that NVIDIA said by pressing NVDA key plus tab.
Create a and desktop icon checkbox focus selected not checked.
Create a desktop icon. I'm not going to use this, so I leave it unchecked. Now press the down arrow to go to the next option.
Add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer file context menu checkbox checked.
This will add the option add. I'm going to repeat again. Press up arrow and then down arrow.
Create a add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer.
This is the option of open with to the file context menu. I'm gonna leave it unchecked. I'm gonna press spacebar.
Space not checked.
Not check. Now press down arrow.
Add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer directory context menu checkbox checked.
Maybe I'm gonna put it in the context menu on the file context.
Add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer file context menu checkbox not checked.
File context menu, I'm gonna press check.
Space checked.
Press down arrow.
Add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer directory context menu checkbox checked.
This is directory context menu. I'm gonna put it check. Now down arrow. So I assume that you know the difference between file context menu and directory context menu. File context menu is a menu that will appear when we focus on a file on Windows Explorer. For the sighted user, they can use right click on the mouse, and for keyboard there's also a button to show the context menu, and the directory menu is the same thing, but that's what happens when the focus is on the directory on Windows Explorer. Now press down arrow again.
Register code as an editor for supported file types checkbox checked.
Yes, we're gonna use this as an editor. Yes, I'm gonna use this. Now press down arrow again.
Add to path left paren. Requires shell restart right paren. Checkbox checked.
I'm gonna read this again by pressing NVDA plus tab.
Add to path left paren. Requires shell restart right paren. Checkbox focus selected checked.
Add plus tab is to make NVDA read the currently focused element. So this is very important because 95% of time I open VSCode using the console, so it needed to be on the path. Now press tab. I forgot whether this is already checked or not, so I'm gonna press spacebar to check.
Space not checked.
Not checked. Okay, I'm gonna press spacebar again.
Space checked.
Now it's checked. Now I'm gonna press down arrow.
Create a and desktop icon checkbox not checked.
Create a desktop. I think this is the first option. We have been through this. Now that means we want to get out from this list of option of checkbox by pressing tab.
Add quote open with code quote action to Windows Explorer file context menu checkbox checked.
This is the same menu. Press tab
Add
again.
Quote open with code quote action.
Tab
Register
again.
code as an editor for supported.
Tab
add
again.
to path left paren.
This is
requires shell restart right paren. Checkbox checked.
Add to path. This is, I think this is the at the bottom of the options. Now press tab.
Less back button Alt plus B.
This is back button. Press tab.
Next greater button Alt plus N.
This is a button. Sometimes I want to explain what NVDA means by saying next greater button. That means that is a button with the label next and greater. Greater sign is pointing to the right, so that means next right. Now I'm going to press enter.
Install.
Install. I assume we are already on the last dialog on the installation process, but if you want, we can read the whole this dialog by pressing NVDA key plus B for Bravo.
Setup Microsoft Visual Studio Code left paren, user right paren, dialog ready to install. Setup is now ready to begin installing Visual Studio Code on your computer. Click install to continue with the installation, or click back if you want to review or change any settings. Additional tasks: other: add open with code action to Windows Explorer file context menu, add open with code action to Windows Explorer directory context menu, register code as an editor for supported file types, add to path left paren, requires shell restart.
The NVDA is reading all the options that we have made. Now we're gonna skip that and press tab.
Cancel button.
To go to the buttons, this is cancel button, press tab.
Click install to continue with the installation, or click back if you want to review or change. Less back button, Alt plus B.
Press tab.
Install button, Alt plus I.
This is the install button that we are looking for. Press enter.
Next greater. Cancel button. 1%, 11%, 21%, 31%.
So currently there's a process going on.
51%, 61%,
NVDA updating the progress.
81%, 91%.
91%.
Setup Microsoft Visual Studio Code left paren, user right paren, dialog installing. Please wait while setup installs Visual Studio Code on your computer. Setup has finished installing Visual Studio Code on your computer. The application may be launched by selecting the installed shortcuts. Click Finish to exit setup. Tree view, launch Visual Studio Code checkbox checked.
So, based on this current dialog that just read by NVDA, there's a button to click that says finish to finish this, and there is a checkbox saying launch and launch VSCode. That means after we click finish, since it is checked, NVDA, sorry, I keep mixing between NVDA and VSCode. VSCode will be launched. For the record, if you feel this process is quite long, that might happen because I sometimes stops to explaining some small things that maybe not important for some of us, but important for anyone who just started to use NVDA. So I hope you can have patience. And the other thing is, if once we get used to use screen reader, we will use a faster speech rate. This speech rate is slower than I used to apply in my default setting. I use the slower speech rate to have more people to understand what NVDA is speaking right now. But in the future, the more video I make, I will increase the speech rate little bit by little. Now I'm going to find finish button. Press tab.
Finish button, Alt plus F.
Finish button, press enter.
Setup unavailable. Document Visual Studio Code. Document busy blank.
We are in the Visual Studio Code. To test it, I want to know the title of the current window by pressing NVDA key plus T for title.
Visual Studio Code.
Yes, we are in the Visual Studio Code. I want to focus on the main Visual Studio Code by pressing Ctrl plus B as in Bravo. Ctrl plus B.
Visual Studio Code document. Application. Main landmark. Group 2 left
So this is main landmark. For those who familiar browsing the web with screen reader, you must have familiar with main landmark. That's happened because Visual Studio Code is made with Meteor, which I assume using HTML. I have not used Meteor before, but I'm planning to learn Meteor after this. a little bit because I want to make some desktop applications. Alright, I think that's conclude the installation of our VSCode. Maybe in the future we will cover a lot of things with VSCode and about VSCode. So I hope this video can be useful. See you next time. Bye bye.